The Punisher is probably one of my favorite beat 'em up games that I've ever played, and it was a game that I came into when I got my Marvel Superheroes cabinet, and since I've had that, which I believe I got it in like 2022, I've been revisiting the Punisher over and over and over again. But when I put a video regarding how much I love this game and why it was so good, a bunch of you fucking nerds came out and were like, no, Alien vs. Predator is the best beat 'em up ever made by Capcom. You need to check that out. And so, you know what? With the advent of a couple different retro emulation devices that I've purchased, including my Iconic Arcade machine, I decided I was going to give Alien vs. Predator a try and give it a fair shot. And in this video, I'm going to go over that game, play some of it, and let you guys know what I think about it, and if you nerds were right or completely fucking wrong. So let's take a look. To kind of get this started, I'm going to be honest, Capcom beat 'em up games, brawlers, to me are the staple of good beat 'em up games. A lot of the other companies who made them, in my opinion, don't hold a torch to Capcom's quality of beat 'em ups. And so, Alien vs. Predator, I'd seen some footage on it, I'd heard a lot of guys talk about it, but I hadn't really delved too deep into it until, honestly, in recent times. And kind of just give this a go. This has a lot of the staples or a lot of the same mechanics that you expect from Capcom beat 'em ups. You have your standard kind of 2-button attacks, or 1 button. Actually, no, I guess you got 2 buttons plus your jump, which is pretty sweet. But one of the cool things that I like about Alien vs. Predator is that you have full volition or control over your guns or your projectiles. Like in the Punisher, they only kind of spaced it out that when someone else had a gun, you could use a gun. But in Alien vs. Predator, right, you have like an energy meter essentially that basically overheats after a certain point, but I can shoot that whenever I want. And you also have the ability to trigger like advanced attacks, right? Which is pretty sweet, in my opinion. Now, of course, standard staple of Capcom beat 'em ups, you use those special attacks, they damage your health a little bit, but they're there. Now, one of the things, too, that I will also say is this era of Capcom beat 'em ups had really good sprite work. Like, the sprites look sweet. And the different enemies, the amount of enemies you have on screen, like, it just looks well done. And I like the smoothness of the way this plays. Now, I will say, I might catch some flack for this. I have emulated this on a couple different devices, so I don't think this has to do with the Iconic Arcade. I would argue that the Punisher runs a little smoother, like it looks a little smoother and cleaner when you're attacking with the Punisher, for example. But overall, like this is a ton of fun to play. And again, I like the fact that you got your ability to shoot projectiles whenever you want. I also like that it feels like good attacking enemies, which is something that, it sounds trivial, but a lot of older beat 'em ups, what I've seen that they struggle to do is actually make the combat feel impactful or fun. And you know, some of the Konami era ones, some of them are good, but some of them, in my opinion, they just don't have that same impact with your attacks that you get from a Capcom type beat 'em up, like Alien vs. Predator, the Punisher, even the Final Fights. Those are all games that to me have great feeling combat. Now again, these games are pretty straightforward. They're kind of basic to play, which is kind of the appeal to a beat 'em up or a brawler, but they just feel better when it comes to Capcom. And honestly, Alien vs. Predator, from the times I've been playing it here, also my son and I have been playing it, not just on this, even on my little R36S retro device. It's a good game. It's fun, and I like that there's little touches. I like that there's different weapons you can pick up, right? And they all feel impactful. And it's standard affair with a brawler. You find weapons on the playing field and you pick them up and shoot guys. But again, these weapons feel impactful. They feel sweet when you're taking out xenomorphs and watching them. Some of them even get beheaded and shit, which is, to me, pretty fucking cool, right? Now, the big question I started this video with, would I say that Alien vs. Predator is better than the Punisher? And my opinion still remains no. So my son and I have played through this. We've given this quite a bit of playtime in going through Alien vs. Predator, but is it better than the Punisher? In my opinion, no, and here's the reason why. What I liked about the Punisher that I think was unique to most to a brawler in general, is I felt like the pacing on that game was near perfect. Like, Capcom basically figured out what would be the curve for someone to start getting bored of playing this game, and how can we vary it up? And they'd start throwing in shit like way more enemies at once, or they'd start adding in the gunplay, which is only secluded to certain areas, and it made it so varied that it just felt like a lot of fun. And it feels like every time I played through it, even though I kind of know it's coming now because I've beaten the Punisher so many times, it just still feels like Capcom figured out a perfect formula for making the game feel fun. Now, that's not to say that Alien vs. Predator is not great, because in my opinion, I would rank this much higher than a game like Final Fight. But would I rank it higher than the Punisher? Again, my answer is still no. But is this a great quality top tier brawler? 100%. And again, like, there's a lot of cool, like, even the different characters you can select, I also really want to highlight here. I will say that that's something that I really do appreciate about this. Between picking the Predator or one of the human soldiers, there's different attributes and traits that they have that feel different enough that it feels like a unique play style. I like that, and I could see some people probably making a strong argument that that's why they prefer this game over the Punisher. But to me, the Punisher, again, it just felt like Capcom distilled almost a perfect balance between keeping the game varied, fun, and exciting without really taking much away from the overall experience, or experimenting too hard, or ruining the pacing by any stretch. Right? So, ultimately, if you haven't played this, it's unfortunate that we're not really seeing Capcom release this on much, because this and the Punisher are both probably some of the best beat-em-up games that I've ever played, but you're not really seeing Capcom do much with these games. I believe the Punisher did come out on one of the Capcom collections, but I don't believe the same treatment happened with Alien vs. Predator, which really sucks. So your best bet to play this is, unfortunately, getting it through like a MAME emulator, or running it on one of your multicades, or emulating it on PC.